Hey everybody, this is Dave Brunsman, the Commissioner, here in the NDFL Media Room for the mid-season, regular season recap. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Oh, wait a minute, this just in. Dave's Duck Dynasty beard has something to say. Oh, this beard is getting so long. Why are you doing this Duck Dynasty thing, Dave? It's really annoying. I don't understand. It's very filthy. It's nasty. Ooh, I think I might have found a Dorito. Okay, well, here's what we have to say about the recap for the season so far. No one has ever won the championship the year before and started 0-7 like yours truly, Dave Brunsman. He's really ripping it up this year in the NDFL. In league history past, Dan Wise won in 2009 and he went 3-4 in 2010. Scott Osterling won in 2008 and went 5-2 in 2009. And in 2006 he won and then went 5-2 in 2007. So Dave, you're off to a horrible start. You are a disgrace to fantasy football, but your commissioning is really awesome. I can at least say that. So if we were to look at all of the playoff teams from last year that still exist in the NDFL, the win-loss record between those 8 teams is 27-29 for a .482 win percentage. That is abysmal. And if we were to look at the rest of the remaining teams in the NDFL, the ones that we did not lose, that did not make the playoffs, their win-loss record is 38-32 with a .543 win-loss percentage. Wow. And it even gets better than that. The noobs, Ian, Chris Plesner, Chad Land, John Nestico, Daryl, and Phil Whitmire, they have a 19-23 win-loss record with a .452. Not quite as good as the playoff teams from last year, but they're creeping up there. So playoff teams from last year, we kind of work. However, I would say that most of that blame does lie on Dave Brunsman, who has started 0-7. That is terrible. Everyone else has almost a win percentage. They're almost winning. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. But the good thing is that Dave is pretty much guaranteed to have a losing record this year. Wonderful. So, and if the playoffs were to happen today, here are the 4 teams that would have made it into the Heisman Conference playoffs. Scott Rooks is number 1, followed by Jen Beecham, Scott Schmeling, and Chad Land. The 4 who are right on the edge are the Fords, Christina and Brooks. I'm really curious about what's going on between them, especially how the Colts are doing awesome and the Jags, well, they're not. Anyway, the Fords are followed by Chris Plesner, Dan Wise, and Ian Poley. Check this out. Out of those 8 teams, 5 of those did not make the playoffs in 2012. And of the 4 that are up at the very top of that list, 2 out of those 4 did not make the playoffs from last year. One of them's a rookie, actually. In the Coaches Conference, this is crazy. The top 4 teams in the Coaches Conference are number 1, Evan Beecham, followed by Greg Graham, followed by Sammy Brunsman, followed by Diane Wise. All 4 of those team managers did not make the playoffs last year, and this year they are leading the pack. Diane being the wild card, the other 3 being the division leaders. The following 4 in the Coaches Conference that are right on the edge are Scott Osterling, Daryl Morris, Michael Kramer, and Michelle Brunsman. And that makes 6 out of that entire list of 8 that did not make the playoffs in 2012. We have a real turning of upside downness in the league, apparently. This is crazy. So, let's take a look at a couple of the little strange statistics that might be interesting. Dave's lost 7 in a row. The longest losing streak ever was 13, done by Jen Brunsman during the 2008-2009 season. The records carry over. Scott Rooks and Evan Beecham, they both have a win streak of 6 going on right now. The longest win streak of 11 was done by Scott Osterling in 2008-2009 season, which carried over as well. 4 of the top 15 highest scores are in the 2013 season. The highest score ever was achieved by Jen Beecham with a score of 197 during Week 5. Wow! I wish I would have been able to send my email to congratulate her during Week 5, but apparently having a baby does actually change things. I keep dwelling on the baby, but seriously, she changes everything. The others who got into the top 15 of the highest scores ever in the NDFL are Phil Whitmire, Evan Beecham, and Scott Rooks. Unbelievable. In the history of the league, 32 games have been decided by 1 point or less, so that means 1 point or 0 points. Diane, this year, got into number 32. Mike got number 17. Phil Brunsman got number 11, and he won by 0, and the bench points were the tiebreaker. If you're curious, the first week of postseason 2011, Diane versus Mike Brunsman, they both tied, and there was a 57-point bench for Diane, a 54-point bench for Mike. There's a 3-point differential, and that was what made it win for Diane. Some other interesting notes of interest. During the regular season, not including post, Scott Schmeling is the number 2 all-time winningest team manager. He just passed 60 wins. That's really cool. He passed Dan Wise during week 2 to become the second most all-time, who now has 59. Scott Osterling, if you're curious, is the all-time winningest team manager with 76 wins as of right now. Someone has got to stop that guy. However, he's right on the edge of the playoffs right now, so maybe we can keep him out. I don't know. That would be pretty interesting, though. This is a really interesting statistic that I've been able to take a look up. I keep track of people who are able to bust the line. So if you look at your scoreboard and you see that the line is negative 19 or positive 19, if it's negative 19, you're expected to win. If it's positive 19, you're expected to lose. Diane Wise, her team name right now is To Be Determined, has busted the line 33% of all of her games. That is craziness. Followed by Mike Brunsman, who has busted 28.1% of his game's lines. I don't really factor in anything before 2 years of being in the league, so the other people who have much higher percentages, they're not really in that official statistic yet. So for instance, you can take a look at people who are under 2 years. Rookies, for instance, Chris Plesner is busting 57% of the game lines of his games so far. So out of 7 games, he's busted, what does that make, 4? But still, pretty darn good start. Apparently we need to be watching out for Chris Plesner. The people who returned from last year that were rookies last year, Christina and Brooks Ford, at this point are busting 29.2% of all of their games. Wow. People don't even come close to this. Diane still is taking the cake at 33%. It's unbelievable. Outside of that, I don't really know if I can make fun of too many people because I'm the one that's really doing horribly right now. You can't even imagine it. However, during week 7, there is something that's at least interesting. Phil Brunsman, he beat me, dang it. But he only scored 44 points last year to be the lowest in the league for the week. That's pretty crazy. I don't like, that's, woo. Phil, you gotta beef up your team there a little bit. But some things that have been really crazy is Chris Plesner keeps winning. A week ago, he won his matchup, but also had 100 points plus from his bench. So apparently this guy is going to be someone to be reckoned with right now. Everyone else, I can't really make fun of you too much, so this isn't going to be as funny as maybe it should be, but at least hopefully it's funny because I'm talking out of my own beard. Hopefully. Who knows? Everyone else still has a shot to make the playoffs, except for probably me, Dave Brunsman, and Jen Brunsman apparently is taking a major dive this year too. She's 1-6. Everyone else, they're doing pretty respectably. Oh, here's another thing that's really interesting. Phil Whitmire, who commented at the beginning of the year that he drafts really well and starts the season off with a real bang, that is true. During week 1, he scored the highest ever points in the NDFL, later to be broken by Jen Beecham. However, since then, he has gone 1-5. That is unbelievable. He's just getting smashed every which way. So, Phil, I'm really kind of curious about what's going on here. I don't know why you're taking such a dive, but whoa. And then the other thing, I want to thank personally Tony Knox. I really appreciate you changing your team name every week to make fun of me. He used to be the Knoxville Kicker Lovers or the Tankville Kicker Lovers or something like that. And then he changed it to Dave is 0-4, will be 0-5, and now his team name is officially Can Dave Win a Game? Thanks, Tony. I really appreciate you keeping track of my bewilderment. It's amazing. Really appreciate it. St. Peter's Homies, this is another thing that's kind of funny. St. Peter's homies, John Nestico, they're 2-5, so I guess he's not really calling on St. Peter and all of his homies that much. Maybe he can do a little seance or something and get them back on his side, because right now the team that he's beaten recently was just Jen Brunsman, and, you know, like I said before, she's not really doing that well. Whatever. Okay, well, that's pretty much everything that my beard's going to be saying, so long. The results for the other games in the NDFL, I'm going to go ahead and email those things to you, so we'll get all that stuff squared away here in just a little bit. Hope everything's doing well, and catch you later.